All right, everyone, it's Wednesday, the 6th of August today. Thank you for joining me. Hope you are all well. Just briefly, I've seen a few really nice comments, complimentary comments about me, about the channel, both here on YouTube and also there's a few things on X yesterday. So I just want to briefly say thank you very much to all of you for your support you're showing me and the channel. It is much appreciated. That's basically the message. What else? If you feel like you're not getting enough of me, which is probably a complaint that no one in the entire planet is making. I think we've had 34 videos out since the start of July. But if you do feel that you just want that wee bit more of me, I have started a new weekly show over on the Celtic Way. As some of you will know, I've been doing the morning briefing on the Celtic Way for the past 18 months. I've absolutely loved it. However, I'm moving on just to do a weekly show on there moving forwards, and it's a weekly show with my good pal John McGinley, who's with the Celtic Way and always talks so much sense. So the Celtic Way Weekly, it's called, and the first episode was out yesterday over on the Celtic Way's YouTube channel. So please check it out, and hope you enjoy. Right, yesterday I spoke a bit about this option Celtic had to postpone our Matchday 3 Premiership fixture against Livingston, the one in between our two Champions League playoff ties. And I spent ages talking about it yesterday, and it was pretty good timing because it then emerged yesterday via a statement from the SPFL that Celtic wouldn't be taking up that option to postpone the Livingston game, which is obviously absolutely fine. You know, I was pretty at peace with either option. Interesting though that I think the other clubs like Rangers, Aberdeen and Hibs have all taken up the option to postpone their match. So interesting that Celtic feel that we're not going to do that. I guess we feel we have a strong enough squad to probably make changes for that home game against Livingston and just keep the momentum going ahead of that second leg in the Champions League. So that decision has been made. And also I guess it's good for like fans who have booked travel and coming over on the boats to Celtic matches. It's probably a good move from the club not to have that game postponed and rearranged. So I think fair play to Celtic. It means that we now have our full confirmed calendar for the rest of August. 6 games to come between now and the end of the month. So we've obviously got Aberdeen on Sunday lunchtime in the league. We then have the rare occurrence of a Friday night fixture at Celtic Park, the Premier Sports Cup game against Falkirk next Friday night, 7:45. We then, I guess it's good in a way, we have the Friday night game because we have a few extra days to prepare for our Champions League clash against either Slovan or Kairat. So that's Wednesday the 20th of August, 8 p.m. kickoff. That's all confirmed in terms of the time and date. It's just the opponents that we need to find out. After that, we will host Livingston as initially planned on Saturday 23rd of August. That'll be a 3 p.m. kickoff. We then have the second leg on Tuesday the 26th of August. Time is to be confirmed, as I said yesterday. If it's Slovan, I think it'll probably be an 8 p.m. kickoff, Celtic Park time. If it's Kairat, it'll maybe be like a 4 p.m. kickoff, just given the time difference. And then, a good few days between the Tuesday and the Sunday when we go to Ibrox for the first derby of the season. Got some TV selections in there as well. So this Sunday's game against Aberdeen and the derby at Ibrox are both on Sky Sports. Next Friday's game against Falkirk is on Premier Sports. And I don't have official confirmation, but I'm pretty sure the 2 legs of our Champions League playoff will be shown by TNT Sports. Right, yesterday, eventually, we had the announcement of Jahmai Simpson-Pusey as a Celtic player. He's going to wear the number 4 jersey, last worn by, I always like testing you in this, Gustav Lagerbielke was the last player to wear the Celtic number 4. Yep, I could do a blow-by-blow account of JSP's first interview with Celtic TV, but there wasn't a whole lot to report from that, if I'm totally honest. I think he's going to do his talking on the pitch, and nobody will be complaining if that's the case. Brendan Rodgers, in a few different places, has talked up his pace, has talked up his ability to defend, but also to start attacks. And that's kind of, if you watch a couple of minutes of JSP playing, you'll quickly realise that he's a bit of an all-rounder. As I say, pacey, quite aggressive, I would say as well, which is important. And can, start attacks and drive forward with the ball and pass as well. I'm hoping to speak to someone on the channel pretty soon about him as well. So that's all positive. And Brendan Rodgers spoke about him coming in to support us, which is kind of fairly vague. A bit of a debate about where JSP is going to kind of feature for Celtic in terms of like how is he viewed? Is he coming in to be a first team starter? The lowest point in my life saying, why would a 19-year-old with almost no professional experience be starting for us? I would flip that and ask why I would be signing a player on loan who's just coming in to be a squad player. I think Celtic are signing Jahmai Simpson-Pusey to ideally come in and be that partner for Cameron Carter-Vickers. I take the point that he's not played a lot of football, senior football, but equally, he has been at Manchester City. He's pretty highly rated. And yeah, I think the hope is, you look back at like 2014, it's the obvious thing to do, but we bring in Jason Denayer, who I think had played even less senior football than Simpson-Pusey has at this stage. And Denayer came in and, did really well for Celtic and has gone on and had a pretty good career. And obviously, I think the feeling is that Jahmai Simpson-Pusey can come in and do that. And, maybe it brings the best out of Liam Scales and Austin Trusty as well, just having a bit more competition. We've got Dane Murray there as well. So yeah, I think it'll be good. It seems like he's going to take a little bit of time to get up to speed, but I think we'll know relatively quickly what Brendan Rodgers' plans for him are, and if he's in a starting lineup over the next, few weeks, I think we'll have a good indication of that. Just a look at our updated squad now after what is our 7th summer signing. Brendan Rodgers did say on Friday that he sees JSP being our final central defender signing this summer. So those are almost certainly the 5 centre-backs we're going with this season. You can add Inamura into that as well. I've got him down as a left-back here. I think there's question marks over that, given that he didn't even make the matchday squad on Sunday when they all knew that Kieran Tierney wasn't going to play the full 90. I think that's interesting. So I still think Inamura will potentially go out on loan. But yeah, we're done in terms of centre-backs, goalkeeper, right-back, fine. We need to sign a left-back. That's, abundantly clear. Midfield, fairly well stocked in those areas, and yeah, it's the 3 forward areas where we are, I think, fair to say, very weak at the moment. I want a first choice right winger in, like a lot of you, a striker, first choice striker needed for me as well, and another left wing option too, possibly a loan. It's a big if, I'm well aware of that, but if we do get those positions in, I do maintain that I think we have a strong squad to go with this season, a pretty strong squad. So, yeah, it's just those attacking areas at the moment. You kind of do shudder at when you have a look at them. But, yeah, I do think we'll feel a lot better about the squad come the end of the window. That doesn't necessarily mean like this window has been a success or that anything at the club is good enough. But I do think we'll feel better. And I just want to investigate that a little further for the next 5 minutes or so, because I've kind of, without, I'm not going to kind of give too many opinions here. You probably know kind of roughly where I'm at with transfers, that I'm, fairly frustrated. I'm more than fairly frustrated with how long it takes Celtic to conclude deals, and the lack of urgency there appears to be at the club when we've got this season defining Champions League qualifier now with the first leg 2 weeks today. We're really running out of time. I've found all that quite frustrating, and the apparent disconnect between Brendan Rodgers and the board and some of the signings that have been made and all of the stuff you're aware of. Equally, I do think Celtic will be okay this season. I don't think this season is heading for heading to be an absolute car crash and a disaster of a season like some people feel. But anyway, we covered that last week. What I want to do for this wee section is just kind of take a look at some of the effectively the raw data of like Celtic's last 3 summer windows, including this one. So the 3 since Brendan Rodgers came back to the club, and the business we've done, when we've done it, the money that's been spent as well. And, you know, looking back at the last 2 windows and trying to kind of see what they can tell us about what we might see from the club over the final, less than 4 weeks of this window that are to go. So, yeah, I've made this graphic just detailing all of the summer signings we've made over the past 3 summer windows. And yeah, summer 2023, clearly a bit of a disaster. Spent just shy of £19 million that summer. Didn't get a hell of a lot back for that outlay. Early squad signings that didn't work out, and then more money spent nearer the end of the window on players who were clearly coming in to start. Naropski and Lagerbielke could be viewed as replacements for Carl Starfelt, who had left that summer. Lewis Palma was clearly the Jota replacement. Paulo Bernardo, probably an Aaron Moy replacement. And yeah, 3 deals completed right at the end of the window. Lewis Palma, Nat Phillips. Sorry, I just had a moment there when I said that last name. Whoa. And Paulo Bernardo. Last summer, a move away from projects and onto first-team quality signings. I haven't double-checked this, but possibly our biggest window ever in terms of spend. I think over £30 million. We broke our transfer record twice as well. Over 25 million spent during the final 2 weeks of the window, with most of that on deadline day. I mean, £18 million spent on deadline day last summer. And then this summer so far, much lower spend. Now, I don't think like that should necessarily be a criticism levelled at the club. The fact we've only spent £3.5 million so far, because like Kieran Tierney and Benji Negrin, who we've got in terms of transfer fees, I know they've both been big wages, Tierney especially. In terms of transfer fees, we've got Tierney and Negrin in for a total of £1.7 million. Like, they're both worth significantly more than £1.7 million. So the club should be commended on that. And that kind of lack of money spent shouldn't be something that we use to, you know, criticise the club necessarily. Obviously, a few club signings in there too that don't appear to be in Brendan Rodgers' plans right now. Doohan was necessary. Osmond, Inamura, potentially Yamada aren't massively fancied by Brendan Rodgers right now. And yeah, based on the past 2 windows, I think it's fair to say Celtic will do more business. We'll probably spend decent money based on last year anyway. Our strike rate on late signings isn't great. It's kind of mixed. Palmer, Phillips, Trusty, Engels, McCowan. Big difference that you're probably screaming at your device round about now is that the past couple of summer windows we've had guaranteed Champions League football. This year we have a qualifier to go through, and I don't know, maybe this is a novel approach, but I do think Celtic should have been viewing the Champions League qualifier as being like the deadline to have our squad ready for that tie, rather than, you know, what's looking like happening, that we're going to go in with holes in our kind of attacking areas. Are we going to sign anyone for this tie? Potentially. I still have some sort of hope that maybe like a right winger will come in for this tie, but like, are we going to sign a right winger and a striker in time for whoever we play? You'd have to doubt that, and you still got left back, and you know, we still need to bring a left winger in as well. So we got a comment in yesterday saying, you know, we don't need to completely restructure the squad there, and I agree with that. Like, there are, as much as like everything seems horrendous at the moment, and I get why, I feel the same way. It's really frustrating. It really is just like a few positions. They're big signings. We need to make first team signings to improve us, and the kind of level of the player we bring in, I think it's fair to say, is going to determine how well we do this season, or certainly go a long way. But it is just like a few positions, you know, right winger, striker, left back, left winger, but they're maybe not players coming in to necessarily start because we've got Tierney and Maid. It's really just right wing and striker. We need real quality in those 2 positions, and if we get that, I think we'll feel a lot better. So yeah, I think Celtic are going to do more business between now and the deadline. We're going to spend pretty decent money, I would think, based off last season. We're probably not going to get to the 30 million that we spent last year, but I wouldn't be surprised if Celtic shell out 7 or 8 million maybe a couple of times between now and the end of the window, maybe a loan in there as well. And yeah, the reality is we're going to be going right up to the deadline. So that's my hunch. I think we're going through a frustrating period where it does sometimes feel like the sky is falling in and everything is going wrong at Celtic. And it's, pretty frustrating, as I've said a few times. I think that feeling might continue for a bit longer. I do think we'll get relatively close to where we need to be come the end of the window. I think Celtic will fill the positions that we need to fill. Whether those players go on to be big successes, we'll have to wait and see. As I say, it's been a bit of a mixed bag in recent years. But I think the reality is we'll be forced to get on with the real football, good or bad. And as a guy who's been living every minute of this transfer window over the past 2 and a bit months, I'm kind of looking forward to that day when the window just shuts and we can just get on with the football. Just finally today, some comments from Alistair Johnston on Kieran Tierney. Maybe just a little bit of insight into how they're going to function as our two fullbacks, or our two main fullbacks this season. Obviously been very obvious so far that Kieran Tierney is not going to play the inverted role at left back. He's a traditional fullback, played to his strengths up and down the wing, and he did very well, especially in the first half on Sunday. I did also notice, and I picked up on this, Alistair Johnston. I don't think it's necessarily something like new, but like when the ball's in the left-hand side, Johnson was really tucking in as a right back, almost becoming a central midfielder. And he kind of picked up on that a little bit in some comments he's made. He says, I think there's a world where we both play kind of as more traditional fullbacks, and we find that extra number in the midfield in another way. In the past couple of years, I haven't been inverting, but the positions that I take up when the ball is on the other side are still technically inverted positions to a degree compared to what a normal fullback would do. And I think when we sign a better right winger, that could be even more to our advantage, because Johnson coming in field is really isolating the right winger with the fullback. And if it's someone slightly better than Yang, then we should be on to a winner. So yeah, that's kind of my conclusion for today. I'm finding it frustrating. There's been like no more links and things have gone pretty quiet. And I'm just kind of telling myself, I think things will hopefully be all right as we go forward. And hopefully, as I say, in a month's time, we're just getting ready to go for the rest of the season, feeling relatively good about ourselves. That's certainly what happened last season. This time last year, we were having very similar conversations and we got through it and went on to have a good season. So positivity. And yeah, that's where I'm at. Just a reminder, everyone, that the first leg between Kairat and Slovan in Almaty is taking place later today. It's actually a 4 p.m. kickoff Celtic Park time. So I don't know if you'll be able to find anywhere showing it, but if you can, maybe stick it on and see our opponents that we're going to play in a couple of weeks' time. Okay, going to leave it for now. Enjoy your Wednesday. I'll chat to you tomorrow.